there's a lot of dynamics involved in this. Like, there's not one person. Communication, this is across the board, 1 through 15.
Devin was also asked, what does it take to get through, the crowd being against you, calls not going your way, your opponent going on a run, and surprise, surprise, this is what he said.
Just communication, talk to each other. That's when you have to be as close as ever. In a hostile environment on the road. Just talk your way through it. Hold each other accountable. Have them honest conversations, and understand it's for the best of the team.
So what I'm hearing is communication is key. Communication is the issue. Communication needs to be had.
Honest conversations need to be had.
That was the part that stood out to me, because some people cannot handle honest conversations. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to just talk and converse between each other, especially on the court. But an honest conversation, when somebody goes in the locker room and says, you are not doing your job, you are not carrying your part of this, you are doing this, or I'm not doing this, but I need you to do that. Some guys cannot handle that. And I'm wondering how much of the locker room problem is that too. The communication problem is that, because being held accountable is a difficult thing to deal with.
Well, especially with today's generation. I will say that too. The communication process of today's generation versus even Chris Paul's generation are wildly different than it ever used to be. Getting in a player's face and screaming at him or being very firm sometimes can be viewed as, oh, why are you attacking me? And some players don't like that stuff. And listen, here in this environment, in this office, hell, we've had conversations. Espo and I have had conversations behind closed doors, and they're not always pretty, and they're not always great. And sometimes it's constructive criticism going both ways. But at the end of the day, we know that we're trying to improve each other, and we're trying to improve the show and the company. And by doing so, it's a way of us lifting each other up. And I don't know if players really take that in and look at it from that perspective. And it's something that you have to constantly preach and preach and preach. And, I don't know if there's enough time to really fix it by the end of the season.
There's a lot of dynamics involved in this. Like, there's not one person. Communication, this is across the board, 1 through 15. It's not just Devin or just Kevin or just Brad. It's Eric Gordon, it's Grayson Allen, it's everyone, right? Everyone has to be on the same page. The problem is there's not enough sweat equity with this basketball team. And so I feel this apprehension. I feel like, when you got that sweat equity, when you've been to war with guys so long, where I've had plenty of times playing ball with guys that I play ball with for a long time. They could come to me and say, hey, Flex, man, you shit in the bed, bro. What the fuck? And I'll take that because there's enough sweat equity for me to know it's coming from a good place. This is complicated because I don't think these guys have enough reps, continuity, sweat equity, relationships. There's none of that. So when somebody says something, it's easy to perceive it as, man, why are you coming at me? Why are you attacking me? Like, why are you singling me out? And so that's where I think the problem lies. And at some point, I will say this: that is the most honest, frustrated, and confused I've seen Book in a long time. And I do think this is a good thing. I think that these guys are going to have these conversations. They're going to talk. I will say that I think after Christmas, there were conversations like this going on, and they responded pretty damn well. I think you're going to see some pissed off dudes on Friday, probably a good pissed off.
This has to be the come to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
This has to be the either we talk it out, we figure out what's going on, air our grievances, our frustrations, and we put our heads down and work together.
Yeah.
Or we get bounced in the first round. Like, those are your two options.
Yeah.